Just hours before flying off to Palm Beach, Florida, and skipping the inauguration, Donald Trump issued his final list of pardons. And he is not on the list and his children are not on the list. And we will talk a little bit about why momentarily. A lot of speculation about that. But the list does include a variety of individuals, 143 pardons, maybe most prominently Steve Bannon, former White House chief strategist and close advisor to Donald Trump, pardoned. Now, there's nothing more Trumpy than the following. Steve Bannon was arrested for felony fraud, for defrauding Build the Wall donors. These were pro-Trump donors who wanted to build the wall. They donated to this, hey, give us money and we'll build it. And it was a total scam. Trump pardoned the guy who scammed Trump's own supporters. And if you needed any more proof that Trump never cared about his supporters beyond how they were useful to him politically, it is the pardon of Steve Bannon. How many times does Trump need to betray his own supporters before they realize Trump never cared about them to begin with? Also pardoned Elliot Broidy, former Republican finance chair, Kwame Kilpatrick, former Democratic mayor of Detroit, Randy Duke Cunningham, a former Republican congressman, Rick Renzi, former Republican congressman, Robin Hayes, former Republican congressman, two rappers, Lil Wayne and Kodak Black. Notably missing from the list are pardons for his family and pardons for himself. And this apparently was the culmination of a pretty dramatic couple of days where on Saturday evening, this is a report from CNN, Donald Trump was warned. He had a long meeting with his advisors on Saturday night. And at that point, he still was leaning towards pardoning in advance his children, his son-in-law, maybe Rudy Giuliani, and possibly even himself. And he was told, don't do it. He was told, if you pardon them and even yourself, you will be placing yourself in a legally perilous position. It will convey the appearance of guilt. It will potentially make you more vulnerable to reprisals. And indeed, Donald Trump acquiesced to that and decided not to pardon his children and not to pardon himself. Some of these warnings came from White House counsel Pat Cipollone, as well as another attorney, Eric Hirschman, who was involved in defending Trump in his first impeachment trial. And they all said to Trump, do not pardon yourself. Do not pardon your family. Do not pardon anybody in a prospective manner unless you will list specific crimes. And that was the concern, a blanket preemptive pardon. Had Trump said, well, I pardon Ivanka in advance for campaign finance crimes, as an example. His lawyer said that would be better, but it also is pointing a finger at specific crimes you believe maybe they would be charged with. And in the end, Trump deciding, I'm not going to pardon any of them. And even after Saturday, Trump kept bringing this up. Even after people around Trump thought it's done, he's not going to pardon his kids or himself. Trump kept bringing it up. And the final meeting, reportedly, where Trump finally was convinced, OK, I'm not going to do it, took place on a Saturday evening. And it's interesting as a general thing because Trump has often ignored advice given to him. In fact, Trump ignoring advice given to him is responsible for much of the trouble that he got into during his presidency. And there's a reason why defense attorneys say, even if you think you had nothing to do with the crime, it's better not to answer questions to law enforcement. Just call a lawyer and say you don't want to say anything. There's a reason why that's the case. And much of Donald Trump's trouble, if we look back at his beleaguered 4 years, much of that trouble caused by Trump choosing to speak rather than not, by Trump choosing to act rather than doing nothing and just waiting for things to happen without his involvement. And I don't know if there's a lesson here. I mean, the real lesson should be, how on earth, how can we prevent 75 million people from being bamboozled by this guy and thinking it's a good idea to elect him? That's really the lesson that hopefully we would learn and somehow prevent in the future. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that has been learned, but the pardon list, the final pardon list is out. So this is the end of the Trump era and the beginning of the Biden era. Tomorrow, we will have, the timing of today made it difficult to have inauguration coverage today on the show. We'll be covering it live, and maybe you're with us right now. Maybe you watched it earlier with us. Tomorrow, we will have coverage of the Biden inaugural, the initial speech, scheduled to have a press briefing already from Biden's incoming press secretary, Jen Psaki, tonight. And then Joe Biden already scheduled today to sign a bunch of executive orders, which you can be sure we will be looking at tomorrow and seeing if Joe Biden sticks to his promises. So quick break. Let me know your thoughts about what's going on Twitter, where you can find me at Pakman, and then a bunch of final stories to tie up some loose ends coming up here. One of our sponsors today is Lucy, and they are giving my audience 20% off. Lucy is a company founded by Caltech scientists with only one mission, which is to help people quit smoking and vaping by offering a clean, affordable nicotine alternative. Now, many of you know, you've heard the stories. I've known several people in my life who have struggled with quitting smoking. I've seen how difficult it can be. And nicotine alternatives can be hugely helpful. Lucy offers a nicotine gum in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. They also have lozenges, which come in cherry ice flavor. Lucy is affordable. It'll ship right to your door. You don't have to go out to the store. Shipping is always free. You can buy single boxes or save with a subscription. It's the year 2020. It's time to throw the cigarettes away and get rid of the vape. And Lucy can make it easier. You'll find a ton of excellent reviews online from countless people who have used Lucy to quit smoking and vaping. Go check them out at lucy.co. I've put the link right underneath this video, and you'll get 20% off when you use the coupon code Pakman. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm required to give: these products contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.